We're very happy to be here with you all. We understand as being business entrepreneurs and business owners, some of the pain points that you all face. So we're hoping that through learning more about our office and the services we provide, as well as DJ's presentation related to the overall business registration process and navigation tools, as well as other information such as hiring employees, taxes, etc. We hope that you guys learn a lot more today than you did before, and hopefully things will be much easier for you going forward. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, if someone could give me the thumbs up to indicate that you see it. Okay, wonderful. Okay, again, my name is Terrell Martin, and so the Business One Stop Shop office was established back in February of 2018. And the background is that the former Governor Wolf, he hired a consulting company to try to figure out what are some of those pain points that individuals that are looking to start a business or operate a business or grow a business in Pennsylvania face. So this company, they met with representatives from the Department of Community Economic Development, Department of Labor and Industry, Department of Revenue, Department of State, and some other agencies, as well as meeting with actual business owners and business entrepreneurs, and some of our external partners, such as small business development centers, to really see what are those issues. And so there were several pain points that individuals face when trying to start a business or operate a business in Pennsylvania. One is that there are a plethora of websites that an individual has to go to find out information. Another piece is that it's very hard to talk to a live person in order to gain information about how to start a business, grow, operate a business, etc. Another issue was that there could be a lot of different technological advancements that could help with the registration process. So we all know that right now when you're going to various websites to fill out applications or forms, you're inputting the same information on every single form. So it becomes pretty duplicative. So based upon that, the Business One Stop Shop was born in order to address some of these pain points. So we were established really to help businesses through all stages of development. So whether you're you're planning to start a business or you're operating or expanding, our office is really there to assist you throughout the way and really provide that customer service, one-on-one focused attention. Now, I will say from our office, we do not have any funding. We don't set policy or guidelines. We're more of a resource. So there's certain areas that we are limited in what we can assist the individual on. But when we have reached that limit of where we can provide further assistance, we then help our customers, we connect them with other partners, such as our small business development centers, our prep partners, SCORE mentors, etc. And those are the groups that can really provide that one-on-one counseling, also provide additional training and business assistance that we're not able to do. So as I pointed out earlier, one of the issues that was found during the study was that individuals have to go to various websites, agency websites, to find different information. So what we've done is we've tried our best to really consolidate as much information as possible in one place. So we do have a website, business.pa.gov, and on that website, you can find information about planning a business, registration and permitting, hiring employees, finding financing, training opportunities, and more. So we've worked very closely with our fellow agencies as well as our external partners to really capture that information and put it there. And the main point is just really trying to have everything at your fingertips in one place. And we are always taking a review of our website to ensure that our information is up to date, and as well that we are keeping up with the times. So case in point, last May, we collaborated with the Small Business Development Centers in order to build out content on our website related to e-commerce. So on that page, we have information about best practices, pros and cons, and as well as some blog pieces that were provided by the SBDCs. Recently, we added information for diverse businesses such as LGBT plus individuals who are either looking to start a business or currently have a business. We already had information about minorities and veteran and women-owned businesses, but we felt like we were missing information that was particular to that community. So we built out content related to that. We also recently built out content related to individuals with a disability that want to start a business or have a business. As well, we also build out content for any business owner who wants to hire a more inclusive workforce. So again, we are always looking to build out our website with new information to make it easier for the customers that we serve. Also, we have a 1-800 number. So when you call this number, you can either reach out to a representative from my office if you press option 0. If you press options 1 and 2, you can reach out to an individual from Department of State. If you press option 3, you can reach out to an individual from Department of Revenue. Or option 4, you can reach out to an individual at Labor and Industry. So again, this addresses that one pain point where it's hard to talk to a human person. So through this 1-800 number, you have options to talk to representatives with the agencies that your business is, especially starting out, is primarily going to work with, being state, revenue, and labor and industry. Oops, sorry. Also, one of the tools that I'm most happy or most excited about is our business checklist. So our business checklist is a question and answer application. So based upon how you respond to the questions that are provided, you will get a step-by-step guide on how to start a new business, out-of-state business, foreign business starting in Pennsylvania, expanding or acquiring a business in Pennsylvania, amending an existing business in Pennsylvania, and closing a business in Pennsylvania. And what I mean by step is we're providing you that specific order and the specific agencies and the specific forms that you need to fill out in order to, again, start your business, start a business that's from out of state, expanding, acquiring, amending, or closing. Prior to this tool, individuals just didn't know where to start, what agencies they need to work with, and what forms they have to complete. So this pretty much standardizes that process and again takes out that guesswork for individuals. Why I'm most proud about this is that we are one of only a handful of states that actually has this functionality in this country. And since this launched in February of 2018, we've had hundreds of thousands of users use this tool, and they've all indicated how helpful this is because, again, it really took out the need for them to do extra work to figure out what they needed to do. So primarily we work with Department of State, Labor and Industry, and Department of Revenue. With this, we recently worked with Department of Agriculture, but as we move forward, we're looking to work with other state agencies that are a part of that registration process based upon a business's business activity. So we can also tell that user that, okay, you need to work with this agency to fill out this particular form. So again, this was built out and put in production in 2018, and we're still looking to add to it. Our next tool that I'm also very happy about is our Business Hub application. And so what the Business Hub application, it really is a business profile customer portal. It's also the main point of entry in order to gain entry into Department of State's business filing services system, which DJ will talk about a little bit later. And so basically with this application, a user can input basic information about their business, whether it's, oops, I'm sorry, can everyone go on mute, please? I hear a little background noise. Thank you. So the main point of this is it's a repository that you can input information about your business. We also have a help center that we'll talk about in the next couple slides that an individual can go to for help with, navigating through various agency systems. As well, you can link to various agency systems through the Business Hub application. And so also you can get newsletters. We're sending out announcements through the Business Hub too, because we receive several different information about different loan or grant opportunities. And as we all know, communication is key. So if there's anything that we we know that we feel that will be helpful amongst other things. So the long-term goal of the Business Hub is, we're collecting those basic data elements around your business and the business owner. We want to be able to share that with other agency systems. And what I mean by that is when you're working with other agency systems and you're filling out these forms and applications, as I said earlier, you are inputting the same information in on each form for the most part. So the goal is to, if you have your Business Hub profile and you have those data elements about your business and about yourself, when you're going to another agency system, it will auto-populate that information into that form, which is cutting down on the time that it takes you to fill out applications and forms. So we've had discussions with other state agencies about this particular functionality. We're still very much talking about it. We hope in the near future to make more headway, but that's something that we have planned. And for us, what matters the most is just making things easier for you all. Because again, we realize the challenges that you face when you're looking to start a business. And so we just want to make things less frustrating for you guys. So next, I'm going to turn it over to Leora.
Good morning, everyone. So as Terrell had said, we are very customer-centered in our office. And one of the things that we created was our newsletter so that we could get information out to individuals on a quarterly basis. And our first newsletter was released in January of 2023. We've had 2 subsequent releases, one in April and one recently in September. And we plan our 4th release in the winter. The newsletter offers all kinds of resources like spotlights of business tips, news from state government, business application deadlines, funding opportunities, and just a lot of helpful information. So if you'd like to be added to that mailing list, you can email the email on the page, and you'll also get that after the presentation. So our Help Center is a wonderful resource. It's compiled of help guides, help videos, reference guides, and business licensing and reference guides. And this is located on our hub. The best part about this is it's available whether you're signed in or not to the hub. So it's accessible to everyone. And the tools that are here were created by combining the knowledge and experience that comes from customer interactions, as well as data we've been collecting through internal and external surveys to track customer needs. We offer a variety of resource types so that customers have the ability to utilize the tools that will work best for them. We can go to the next slide. So to break down our Help Center just a little bit, we have help guides, which assist users navigate various processes. They're very straightforward. They utilize screenshots paired with text to help users as they go through each step of various things in business filing services and MyPath and other applications that we have. We also have help videos that were created in collaboration with our core partners, the Department of State, the Department of Revenue, and the Department of Labor and Industry. And these really help customers when they're completing applications, registering for a business, completing business tax registrations, and hiring employees. And what's wonderful about these is customers can follow that video along as they complete their own application. There's also some reference guides like the Federal, State, County, and Local Licensing Guide and the Entrepreneur's Guide. And those offer entrepreneurs assistance with special licensing requirements and information that can be helpful as they're planning, operating, and growing their business in Pennsylvania. And then finally, we have 18 guides that are business licensing reference guides, and they're very specific to business activities, and they offer information related to those activities in terms of licensing, tax considerations, applicable laws and regulations. So there's just really a wealth of information that can help individuals as they're beginning that process to register, or when they're amending, or any process they're doing with their businesses. So that's actually the end of my slide presentation. We're going to be turning things over to DJ to talk about business registration, but are there any questions for Terrell or myself before we go into that section?
Okay, not hearing any questions, we'll turn it over to DJ.
All right, thank you, Terrell and Leora, for setting me up for that. So just a little bit of background about myself before we progress here. So I have been with the Business One Stop Shop is coming up on 6 years now. And prior to that, I worked with the PA Department of Revenue. And during that time, I got a great background in business taxes and even personal income taxes. So that experience at revenue combined with my 6 years, in the Business One Stop Shop, and I do also have a master's in business administration from Lebanon Valley College. So with my previous experience and my education, I have a lot of knowledge to give, and I absolutely love to give it. So, with that being said, within my current role as an economic development consultant within the office, one of my main roles is to analyze the overarching business administration process in Pennsylvania and provide recommendations to improve it. Another function of mine in the office on a day-to-day basis is working directly with business owners and entrepreneurs, answering questions and learning more about the particular pain points that are out there, questions and concerns from the business community. So what I can do is I take that experience from working with you all on the front lines and using that to provide recommendations at the overarching business registration process. So I can really make an impact on helping improve those particular processes. So what are some of the questions that we get on a daily basis, or what are some of the processes that our office helps with the most? Well, you'll see on your screen there the various items that I have listed. So the registration process and all the steps that are included in that. There are several, and each one has some caveats and things that you have to consider, and we'll talk about those more in depth as we move forward through the presentation. We also help with navigating the various systems, as Terrell introduced the hub and Leora mentioned the help center and the hub. So all those resources in there are assisting you navigate the various systems and complete the various processes. We assist with updating business information. So if you're an existing business and you need to update information, we can help with that. If you're looking to hire employees for the first time, if you're looking to close a business, or if you need any type of business consulting resources, we have various partners that we can refer you to for those things, as well as funding. And as Terrell mentioned previously, we don't do any direct funding from our office, but we do have a bunch of different partners that we can refer you to who do offer small business funding and technical assistance. So next slide for me, Terrell. So just to level set before we move forward, Terrell mentioned the hub. So keep that in mind. The business hub is a system that you're going to be using and that I'm going to be mentioning throughout the rest of the presentation, as well as business filing services. So business filing services is the Department of State's online filing portal. And as mentioned, to access business filing services, you have to create an account and log in through the business hub. So they're kind of linked together. If you're using the hub, if you're using business filing services, you're most likely going to be also using the business hub. So to access business filing services, you would log in through the hub and then click the link to business filing services. And within business filing services is where you're going to officially register a new business with the Department of State, amend existing businesses. If you need to purchase existing business records, like if you formed your business years ago and you need a copy of the formation document to say open a bank account, then you would use business filing services to do that, as well as file annual reports, to conduct business name searches, and then as well, if you filed any documents in business filing services, you have to go back there to check the status and obtain any documents that you may have submitted. There's other functions as well, but we're going to stick to these main ones. Next slide for me. So let's talk about the registration process specifically. You'll see the general steps on the screen. Now, not every business is required to complete every step that you see here. Some businesses may have to complete all of them. Some businesses might not have to complete any, believe it or not. So if I'm a sole proprietor operating under my own name and I'm doing like business consulting, just like I'm doing right now, I wouldn't really have to complete any of these steps on this screen. I can literally start doing business right now and stop at any time. In order to get a customized step-by-step instructions to register your business, as Terrell mentioned, the checklist. So you'll see these little blurbs throughout the presentation where a checklist would apply. So if you're not sure after the presentation what steps you need to complete, definitely recommend completing a checklist to get those customized steps. So again, these are the general steps, and we'll talk about each step more specifically as we go through the presentation. Next slide for me, Terrell. All right, so step one, you definitely want to make sure that you can do what you want to do, where you want to do it before you start to register your business, and definitely before you begin operating. So this is especially important for home-based businesses. Now, if you're just sitting on your computer and you're doing stuff online through like e-commerce, now it's really not going to be much of an issue for you. However, if you plan on having customers come to your home, or if you're receiving large shipments of inventory to your house and things like that, or say you're operating an under garage out of your garage in a residential area, those are things that you're going to definitely want to make sure that you can do before you start doing it. So at a local or county level is typically where zoning is indicated, or is where zoning is handled. So you just want to do a little bit of research on your own for your area to determine who you would have to contact to get some information about zoning laws. Again, the main reason for this is that you don't want to waste time, money, and effort registering your business, and you're excited to begin operating, and then all of a sudden you get a knock on the door and a cease and desist, and you're not allowed to continue operating your business from there. So again, step one, make sure that you can do what you want to do, where you want to do it before you do it. Next step. Okay, so then step two is going to be, once you've determined you can do what you want to do, where you want to do it, the second step is going to be to confirm that your business name is available. And to check your business name, you're going to use several systems. You're going to use Business Filing Services, as I mentioned previously. You're also going to search the business name through the United States Postal Patents and Trademarks Office, and through the state trademark database, which is also in Business Filing Services as well. So some tips related to searching the business name in Business Filing Services. You want to search the business name without a designator. So a designator tells the public how your business is structured, whether it's an LLC, a corporation, which would say Inc., company, etc. So those are designators. So when you search the business name, you want to drop that. So for example, ABC Company LLC, that would be the legal name of my business. But when I search the business name to check the availability, I just want to search it as ABC Company and dropping the designator. The reason why you do that is because the Department of State doesn't see the designator as making the name distinguishable. So ABC Company LLC to the Department of State is the same business as ABC Company Inc. So the names are the same. The designator does not make it different. When you search the name, if there's no results that appear, that's great. That means the name is available for use in Pennsylvania. If you do search the name and a result does appear, it doesn't necessarily mean it's unavailable, but you'll just have to do a little bit more research to determine whether or not you can still use it. So when you do the name search in the search results, you want to look at the entity type that's listed. If it's only listed as fictitious name registrations, then you can still use that name if you so wish. A fictitious name registration does not give you the sole use to use that particular name. If you do a search for the name and any active business entities appear, so like if it's a limited liability company or a corporation or a limited partnership or a nonprofit or anything else besides fictitious name that's active, it means the name is typically going to be unavailable for you to use. And at that point, you would probably want to choose a different name and start again with the search. So once you've searched the state website and determined that the name is available that way, you also want to search, again, the United States Patents and Trademark Office and the state trademark database to ensure that there's nobody who's trademarked that particular name. One thing to keep in mind here is that even if you search the name and even if a result appears in those databases, you want to make sure that you're comparing the industry. So a trademark only works in similar industries. So if it's a completely unrelated industry that has the name where it's trademarked, you would still be able to potentially use that name. The last thing you want to do is just a general search of the internet, newspapers, legal journals, yellow pages, any other source media that you can find in the marketplace to see if anybody else is using that particular name. So the first bullet there, search your business name in the Department of State's Business Filing Services, is really to make sure the name's available. The last two, through the trademark and through the media, would be so you don't get sued. So you want to make sure your name is available and that you don't get sued for using the name. Next slide for me, Terrell. So after checking the local zoning laws and regulations and checking to make sure your name is available, the next step is to obtain your employer identification number, which is a federal tax ID number. It's referred to as an EIN and FEIN. They're all the same. The EIN is typically used for income tax purposes, but it's required if you plan on registering an LLC, a partnership, a corporation, a nonprofit. Any type of business entity other than a sole proprietorship is going to require you to obtain a EIN. While it's recommended, an EIN is not required for a sole proprietor unless you plan on opening a bank account, obtaining insurance, hiring an employee. So any of those business functions, that are typically required of any business, you're not required to have a EIN as a sole proprietor. As mentioned, we do recommend it in any case because it does protect your social security number for business purposes. So definitely recommend it. It's free. It's easy to apply through the IRS website. There's no fee. They give it to you right away. When you're going to apply for an EIN through the IRS, there's a couple things you'll need. You'll need to make sure your business name is available for use. You'll want to make sure you know what your business structure is going to be. So LLC, corporation, nonprofit, etc. It'll ask you whether you're planning on hiring employees within 1 year. So you definitely want to make sure you have the answer to that question. If you do answer yes, then you'll have to input wage information and things like that. So you just want to make sure you're thinking of those things before you say yes to those questions. And then also you just want to have a basic idea of what the business is going to be doing because it's going to ask you to describe your business activity. Next slide for me, Terrell. So again, just to recap, we made sure we can do what we want to do where we want to do it. We made sure our business name is available. We got our EIN, and now we're ready to register our business structure and/or our fictitious name. So this particular step is also done in Business Filing Services through the initial forms link. You select the proper form that you want to file to register the business. So some businesses have to register a business structure. Some businesses have to register a fictitious name. Some businesses may have to register both, depending on certain circumstances. So a fictitious name is a business name that's different than a fictitious name is a name that's different than the business's legal name or the sole proprietor's legal name. So when you go to register a business structure, you choose a legal name for the business, which includes the designator. As I mentioned before, the designator would be LLC or Inc. or one of those things that indicates the type of business structure. If you plan on operating under a name that's different than the legal name that you choose for your business when you register it, then you also have to register a fictitious name. So just as an example, if my business name is ABC Company LLC, and I plan to do business under XYZ Company, I have to register the LLC, which is my business structure, and then I also have to register the fictitious name, which is XYZ Company, the name that I will be doing business under. So the various business structures that require registration are essentially everything but a sole proprietorship and a general partnership. So general partnerships also don't have any business registrations that are required other than a fictitious name registration if that's required. And then again, as I mentioned before, you'll see where it's applicable. We have videos that are out there that are available in the Help Center that Leora talked about. So we have a video for registering a domestic limited liability company, and we have a video for registering a fictitious name. And these videos actually take you step by step through the actual application to complete. So by the time the video is done, you should be ready to submit the filing. Next slide for me, Terrell. So again, we checked our zoning laws, we made sure our business name is available, we got our EIN, we registered our business structure and our business name if necessary, and now step 5 is to determine whether or not we need any business tax accounts. So to determine whether you, to register for a business tax account, if you determine you need one, is in MyPath through the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. So that you'll see the link there on the screen. MyPath is used to apply for various business taxes. The most common ones that we see are sales tax and employer withholding and unemployment compensation. And one misconception that we hear a lot from business owners and entrepreneurs is that they think that every business has to complete this, even if they don't need any of the tax accounts listed. So that's one of the main things I would like you all to keep in mind, is that you only need to complete a registration in MyPath if you need any of the business tax accounts that you see listed on your screen here. So if you don't need any of those, then you don't need to complete this application. And at any point, if you do end up having to complete the application, we have a video that's associated with that, again, will take you through the application step by step. So next slide for me, Terrell. Step 6 is going to be related to any type of special licensing based on your business activity. So again, just to recap what we've done so far, we've got our zoning requirements figured out. We've made sure our business name was available. We got our EIN. We registered our business structure and our fictitious name. We got our tax licensing from the Department of Revenue if it was required. And now we're going to be looking into any special licensing requirements. So in Pennsylvania, another common misconception is that all businesses are required to have special licensing or some type of business license, which is not the case. There is no general business license in Pennsylvania that all businesses are required to have. Licensing is purely based on your business activity, and not all business activities require additional licensing, only certain ones that are regulated by some department in Pennsylvania. So some of the common business activities that we get questions about pretty often are home improvement contractors, childcare businesses, transportation, cosmetology, which is hair and things like that, home health care, upholstery and stuffed animals, which is through the PA Department of Labor and Industry, and then armed security. So those are only some common ones. I mean, there's a bunch more that we get questions about. So some resources to help you determine whether you need any special licensing is you can look at, we have a specific guide that is pretty all-inclusive from federal to state to county to local requirements. Based on the business activity, it'll tell you what department you have to work with, what application you need to fill out. So that's a pretty good guide for you to take advantage of. As Leora mentioned previously, the business licensing reference guides are available in our help center. There's 18, I believe, in there currently, and they're based on specific business activities. And again, that's going to help you determine what type of requirements are necessary based on your particular business activity. And then if you're not sure after taking a look at all these guides, you can always reach out to our office for assistance, and we can help you figure that out. So next slide for me, Terrell. All right, so again, just to recap what we've done so far, we made sure our zoning is good. We made sure our business name is available. We got our EIN, we got our business structure and fictitious name registered. We made sure that we have every tax license that we need. We got our special licensing based on our business activity. And now we need to just follow up with our local municipality to register anything that might be required there. So you want to always check with your municipality regarding local licensing, permits, and zoning, as I had previously mentioned. You can find contact information by searching your home or business address on our website. So you click that link and it takes you to a page where you can search either your home or your business address, and it'll give you a contact to reach out to regarding licensing. In Pennsylvania, there's 2,560 municipalities, and each one can really make their own rules regarding business registration. So it's not the same across the board. Each one can make their own rules, and it's really, up to the business owner to reach out to the local to make sure they have everything they need at the local level. So for example, Philly, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, any major city in Pennsylvania is going to have additional local licensing requirements, and even some of the smaller ones too, believe it or not. So again, just make sure you're reaching out and checking with that. So those were the 7 steps, the general steps related to registering a business. At this point, if you've gone through everything that I mentioned, then your business is essentially should be ready to operate. So the next the next few considerations are going to be related to like, bank accounts, insurance, things, so things like that. So let's talk about opening a bank account. This is another common question that we get from individuals who are calling in or emailing in. They typically want to know what they need to open a bank account. So for most banks in Pennsylvania, there's two things that are required. You're going to need a federal employer identification number, which is that EIN that I referred to earlier. But more than that, you're going to actually need the awards letter that is provided to you when you apply for it. So you can't just go to a bank and give them your FEIN. You actually have to have the document from the IRS that is assigning it. So when you go to apply for an EIN, and if you do it electronically and you elect to have the document provided to you electronically, just make sure that you're saving it and you have that for future use, because when you go to the bank, if you don't have it, then you're going to end up having to call the IRS or try to get a hold of someone there and have them resend it to you, which is, obviously going to slow down the process and probably create a headache for you along the way trying to get a hold of the IRS. So that's the first thing. The other thing is going to be your registration with the Pennsylvania Department of State. So that's your business structure or fictitious name registration through business filing services. Sole proprietors are going to be required to register a fictitious name, even if they're operating under their first and last name. So my name is Donald Polligan. Even if I'm doing business under Donald Polligan and I want to have a business bank account through my bank, I'm going to have to register a fictitious name. So I have that documentation and my FEIN to provide to the bank. So again, and for business corporations, LLCs, partnerships, they're going to have to provide their business formation documents. So LLC would be a certificate of organization, corporation would be articles of incorporation. Partnerships, again, if it's a limited partnership, it's going to be the certificate of partnership. And then so those are the main two things that are required. Again, the formation documents and the EIN. The other thing, banks can really make their own rules, so they can really require anything they want in addition to those two things. A lot of times I see banks asking for operating agreements, which is a private document that's maintained by the owners within the business. So it really is what determines business ownership for an LLC, for example. Is the operating agreement. They may want to see that. They may want to see a good standing certificate, which is referred to as a subsistence certificate, which indicates that your business is in good standing in Pennsylvania, and so on and so forth. So I guess really my main advice with this is reach out to the bank prior to going in to make sure you have everything you need, so that you don't have to leave without your bank account. Another thing that we help with a lot of times is making official updates to businesses. So this is for existing businesses. If you ever wanted to update your business name, if you ever wanted to update your address, whether you wanted to, if you're a business coming in from another state. So if maybe you operate in Ohio and you want to and you're moving to Pennsylvania and you want to domesticate your business into PA, or vice versa. If you're moving or leaving Pennsylvania and you want to domesticate your business in another state, we can help with those processes as well. Say you want to convert your business structure to a different type of business structure. You're an LLC now, but you want to be a corporation, or you're a corporation and you want to be an LLC, or you're a sole proprietorship and you're ready to take the next step to be an LLC. So that's not really a conversion per se, but we can provide you with the steps to do that. As well, any type of change that you make to your overall business, you want to update all your tax accounts as well. So if you have tax accounts in MyPath or local tax accounts or whatever the case may be, you want to make sure you're following up and updating the information where it exists. And then anything else really that comes up in conversation, or if something changes, like maybe you got married and your last name changed and you need to update all that information with for business related purposes. So we can help with those things as well. And then again, there's a nice link here to the amending checklist, so that you don't even have to call us if you don't want to. You can complete this question and answers, and you'll get a step-by-step guide to amend your business. So next up. Another thing that we help with quite frequently is hiring employees. So if you are ready, you've been operating and now you're expanding and you're ready to hire your first employee, well, we can help you through that process as well. So you'll need an EIN first and foremost if you didn't have one already. That'll be the first thing you want to do. And then you're going to have to get set up for all the federal, state, and local employer accounts that are going to be required to withhold and pay the necessary taxes. So at a federal level, you have the federal income tax, Social Security tax, Medicare, and the unemployment tax. At the state level, employer withholding, unemployment compensation, workers' compensation, new hire reporting. And then at the local level, you have local withholding as well as local services tax. So all these things have their own, withholding requirements and filing requirements, and each one has it's pretty involved to hire an employee. That's why, a lot of businesses use third-party payroll providers to do this, but it's still up to you as the owner to get these accounts set up. So they won't do that for you. It'll be your requirement to update to get the account set up, but they will, charge you a fee, obviously, to file and pay on your behalf. We do have a video tutorial for this as well, as Leora mentioned previously. So it's going to, again, go through each one of these levels, so federal, state, and local, and it's going to talk about each one of the accounts that are mentioned here. So, next slide for me, Terrell. Another thing that we help with, again, a lot is for individuals who are looking to close their business. There are some general steps related to closing a business based on the business structure, whether or not you did business previously, whether or not you have employees or tax accounts. And you'll see, the various caveats that are on the screen. My suggestion would be to complete a closing business checklist, which will, again, customize these steps based on your specific situation. The main thing that takes so closing a business is a pretty involved process, especially if you're a business entity like an LLC, corporation, nonprofit, et cetera, who actually conducted business. Some businesses form, don't ever do anything, and they can close relatively easy. But if you actually conducted business at any point, then there's going to be a requirement to obtain tax clearance certificates, which can take several months to get from the Department of Revenue and the Department of Labor and Industry. So really, that's the main thing. Once you have your tax clearance certificates after those couple months, you can close the business by filing the proper paperwork in the Department of State's business filing services. So next slide for me, Terrell. So just kind of wrapping up here over the next couple of slides, there are several tools that we have available in addition to the Help Center that Leora mentioned. So the checklist, as Terrell mentioned, again, I've mentioned that several times throughout our presentation, and Terrell's super proud of the checklist as well as I am, because this is something you guys can do yourself. You don't have to get the help of a CPA or an attorney. You don't even have to call into our office or email us or call us. You can literally answer these questions, and it's going to give you that step-by-step guide. And then, if you have questions, obviously we're here to help. But that's kind of the starting point for everybody, that even when, if you would email me or call me and say, hey, I'm looking to register my business, my answer to you is going to be, well, do the starting a business checklist. And then from there, if you have additional questions, we can kind of go into more detail. Within the Help Center is the Entrepreneur's Guide as well. The Entrepreneur's Guide is a great resource, starting from scratch. So you're brand new to business, start with the Entrepreneur's Guide. It really makes you kind of dig into, first of all, when you're thinking about yourself, you want to say, am I the right person to start a business? Do I have the skills? What kind of skills do I have that I can take advantage of to help me start my business? And then you're going to also look at, weaknesses as well. How can I turn my weakness into a strength, and how can I minimize my weaknesses? And so it's really taking you through that. Okay, first starting with you as an individual, are you ready to be a business owner and take this plunge? And then it's going to talk about business, business structures and what those are, and planning, and then registering, and then operating and growing. So it takes you through those from the very beginning. If you're brand new to business, is where I would recommend starting with the Entrepreneur's Guide. The Department of Revenue has their Guide to Pennsylvania Taxes, which will help you to determine your tax requirements based on your business structure. So what type of tax return do you need to file, business taxes like sales tax, stuff like that. The Department of State has a guide for business registration as well. That is going to be a great tool to help you figure out, what is the formation documents that you need to file, what are additional requirements like advertising requirements. So those are great. It's going to break it down based on business structure. Great tool to look at. The Retailer's Information Guide is a great tool for individuals who have to collect sales tax. So within the Retailer's Information Guide, it provides literally a whole list of items, goods and services, and designated by a T for taxable or NT for not taxable. So if you're a retailer and you're selling a bunch of different types of goods, then you can look at that to determine whether or not you would have to collect sales tax on a particular item or service. And then finally, again, the Help Center, which I'm not going to spend too much time on because Leora did a great job covering that previously. But yes, the Help Center is there within the hub to assist you all navigating the various systems, completing applications, determining whether or not you need licensing requirements, things like that. So next slide for me, Terrell. So in addition to all these useful tools that we have available, and in addition to our office where we answer all those questions and provide information about the processes that I previously mentioned, we have a whole host of partner organizations that we can refer you to based on your specific technical needs. So there's the Small Business Administration through the federal government. They have similar to us at the state level, but at a federal level, they have a lot of information related to funding, getting prepared for funding, disaster proclamations, things like that. They were a big player during COVID with dispersing loans and grants and things related to that particular situation. The Small Business Development Centers, as you all are aware, obviously you wouldn't be here if you weren't. They're one of our main partners. They're great for all types of different assistance, technical assistance, getting your business off the ground, business planning assistance. So definitely reach out to your Small Business Development Center for that type of assistance. We also have our PREP network, which is Partnerships for Regional Economic Performance. There are local boots on the ground, if you will. So if you have local questions or local concerns, you're looking for a particular site, business location, like you're a manufacturer and you need 50,000 square feet, you need rail access, you need specific energy requirements, then the local partners through our PREP network are going to be the best resource for those. Industrial resources centers, again, are related to manufacturers, processors, so they're there to help with those particular businesses. They can help rearrange a shop floor to be more efficient. They can help with getting trained employees or training employees for manufacturing and processing. So they're a great resource for that. We have our Ben Franklin Tech partners. Tech is in the name. It's pretty obvious that that's related to technology businesses. If you're developing an app or something in the technology field, you can work with our Ben Franklin Tech partners. They literally do everything we do, but for tech businesses. We also have our SCORE Mentors, which is a federal program as well. They're a group of retired professionals who mentor business owners and entrepreneurs. So if you're interested in, talking to a former business executive who's done it before, who's been in your shoes, then you can really pick their brain about that information. And again, they're going to help you with also self-assessing, whether or not you're ready to be a business owner. We have our Apex accelerators, which previously were the procurement technical assistance centers related to government contracting. So if you're ever interested in government contracting, you can reach out to them for assistance. And they help at the federal, state, county, local levels. So they do all levels of government. We have our international business office within DCED as well. So if you're interested in exporting your goods to foreign markets, our international business office is going to be the go-to resource for that. They have connections in every region of the world. So wherever you're really interested in exporting, they can help you out with that. And then also, as I've previously mentioned, we do refer individuals to local and county governments as well. So through the local, any requirements that are required there, through the county, there are some at the county, but not many. We would refer you to the local or county government to get assistance with those requirements. Another great resource that we have, and a question we get pretty often is, do I need an attorney to help me out with this? You don't need one. I mean, we would recommend it if it gets to the point where you're not sure, you're not kind of understanding the resources that we're providing, then at that point you may want to reach out to someone for assistance. But We do have a free legal service through Penn State University. It's called the Entrepreneur Assistance Clinic. It's a full service legal team. They're students, at Penn State who also assist, but they're training in the law, and they can help you with, what business structure should I choose? How do I form my business? So they're going to be a great, resource for those legal services that individuals are looking for, and it's free. So again, take advantage of that, especially if you're not sure where to start. Through Penn State University, they also have the Intellectual Property Clinic. So we get questions a lot about trademarks, copyrights, patents, etc. We don't typically answer those types of questions because, again, there's just so much involved with that. A lot of caveats, a lot of things that you would have to consider, but they do also provide that assistance for free as well. So there are additional free legal services not related to business through the Department of Human Services. So if you are just interested in finding out more about that, you can visit their website for more information. And then really the last thing I'm going to mention is if you're interested in government contracting. So again, as I mentioned, we have our partner, the Apex Accelerators, to assist with this. But we do have, a little bit of knowledge just about the process as far as registering in Pennsylvania to be a government contractor. Through the Department of General Services, you would register as a PA supplier. Then from there, you can certify as a small business. And then if it applies, then you can certify as a small diverse business. And that's really related to the government contracting world. Being a small diverse business in government contracting gives you more opportunity to get contracts as the state, the feds, they set aside specific contracts specifically for diverse businesses. And then the DGS, the Department of General Services, they use third-party certifiers to certify as a small diverse business. So you can get certifications for the diverse groups that are listed there. And again, that gives you a kind of a leg up in competition related to other businesses who are bidding on contracts in Pennsylvania. So and then just how would you reach us then? As Terrell mentioned before, we have an 800 number there. The options are listed. So option 0 brings you to our office within DCED. So you'll be either speaking with me or one of our colleagues, Francine, who's not here today on the meeting, but one of us can help. We have great experience and knowledge and can provide that to you. Business registration and business filing services questions are going to be directed to the Department of State via option 1 or 2. Business taxes, option 3 will take you to the Department of Revenue. And then option 4 is going to take you to the Department of Labor and Industry with questions related to unemployment compensation, workers' compensation, and new hire reporting. Next screen for me. And then we also have a contact us form through our website, business.pa.gov. So you just the top right-hand corner of the screen, you click contact us and submit the online contact us form. And it's set up similar to our phone line where you select a particular subject and it's going to direct your email to the proper department based on the subject matter.